We have two pieces that are kind of an interesting mix, I think, Mozart and Philip Glass. And I think when you listen to them back to back, you will find some similarities maybe, or something that they aim for the same goal, and that is transporting you to a world that is not your own. And I find in particular with Philip Glass that it's kind of part of this minimalist movement, even though he probably doesn't like this term, where you have certain musical cells that repeat themselves and that propel the music forward and at the same time mesmerize you to kind of go somewhere else with your mind. So when you let yourself go and your listening habits kind of go, but just allow yourself just to immerse yourself in the music, and wherever the music goes, you go to. When I thought, okay, what can we do with the Mozart Requiem? You know, it's a Mass of the Dead. It deals also with, of course, our world, but also with the afterworld, and what happens with your spirit, and what goes with that. I thought, oh, let's try Philip Glass and see how that works. There are probably over several thousands of requiems, music requiems written. And Mozart is actually still fairly small, but it has a great impact. And it's one of the great choral symphonic pieces of the repertoire. Now, the interesting part about this requiem is the famous story, you know, there's this stranger, the mysterious stranger coming in, knocking on Mozart's door and commissioning him to write this piece. He was very busy at the time. He wrote on several other operas at the same time, got more and more obsessed with it, got sick, and he knew it was his last piece. It was his swan song. He called it his swan song. Never finished it. And then for you as an interpreter, a musician, it's like, okay, what do I do with this unfinished piece of music, you know? There are several people who have tried to finish it. I still like the first finished version, which is by Eibler and Süssmayr. And Süssmayr, in particular, was a student of Mozart. Apparently, Mozart left instructions to Süssmayr of how to finish it. What he did with the end of that Requiem, I find fascinating. Sometimes, if presented with a challenge, you live up to that challenge. It's a fully valid ending. I mean, I like the flow of it. I like the beauty of it. I think it was Beethoven who said, I don't know if Mozart wrote this piece, but whoever wrote it was a Mozart. We're always happy to have the Greenwich Choral Society come back to sing with the Stamford Symphony. We have worked with them together over the years several times. Very recently, we did Beethoven's Symphony No. 9 with them. Wonderful chorale, very enthusiastic, great singers. I think they're a wonderful group of people, wonderful musicians, and it's always a great pleasure having them back with the Stamford Symphony.